Right, but I wanted you to be quiet. I
didn't understand.
No matter how hard I try to make this as professional as we can, even though it's not very, and I tell Leah, just be quiet while I start the Facebook Live until I can get the YouTube Live. And so I click the Facebook Live, and then obviously, did you hear her? Are you live now? Are we live now? And I'm like, I wanted you to wait until I said, be very quiet. And like a little kid, are we live now? So yes, we are live now to both our Facebook Resistance Chicks page viewers. Thank you guys for being here.
I am the older sister, by the way.
Our, yeah, but sometimes you are kind of like
I just needed to know if we were live, if there were people looking at us.
But wait, hang on. Hang on. Be patient here while I show Leah something. When you see us, then they see us. Okay? When you see George Washington, they see George Washington.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. And that was longer than 5 minutes. I know. I'm sorry. It's all about technical difficulties.
Thanks for sticking with us. All right, let's immediately go into the
interview. Let's go right into the interview with Piers and Trump. So let me switch you guys over to that scene first, and then I will click play.
We're sharing again?
They're upstairs. The other ones are upstairs. We have a splitter. Oops, wrong one. You know what? It's okay. All right.
Technically started the interview yet, but news had just broken about President Trump's controversial planned visit to Britain. And I was keen to get that confirmed.
So you're coming to Britain?
Yeah, I'll be there. She had just invited me.
Great.
Twice. State and...
Oh, both? Oh, great.
State, when is the state? October?
The president was talking to Hope Hicks, the former Ralph Lauren model, who, aged 29, is the youngest White House communications director in history and Trump's longest-serving political aide. I was reminded how important image and attention to detail are to Donald Trump, even when it comes down to lighting.
I like it on the hair. People find it hard to believe it's my hair, but
yeah, that's good, Mr. President.
It's hanging in, barely. It's hanging in.
I only just stopped calling you Mr. Trump. I was allowed to call you Donald for a bit, and now it's all changed again.
Let's go. Come on, Piers.
You good?
Yeah.
Everyone good?
Weeks of preparation have gone into this interview. Now it's just the leader of the free world and me.
Mr. President, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Piers.
It's been a while.
It has, since you became my champion on The Apprentice.
Well, that was 10 years ago.
Can you believe it? It's a long time, but I appreciate all the nice things you've said. And every once in a while a hit, but that's okay.
I always say that you don't mind criticism if it's not hysterical.
It's true.
You don't mind listening to criticism, do you?
It's true. No, I don't. If it's real. If it's fake, I don't like it. I mean, when they give you false stories, and there's so much of it in the media, but you've always been very fair. And you really are a talented guy. Look, you were on The Apprentice, and I wouldn't say you were the most popular person in the sense of the other people liking you, but you were the smartest person. Well, actually, had something to do with your victory.
I actually found the quote that you said to me. And this is exactly at the moment when you made me your apprentice.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you can remember what you said, but you said this. You said, Piers, you're a vicious guy. I've seen it. You can try and dispute it.
You're tough. You're smart. You're probably brilliant. I'm not sure. You're certainly not diplomatic, but you did an amazing job, and you beat the hell out of everybody, and you won by far more than anybody.
That's true.
Watching your campaign, it looked like you'd stolen my playbook, Mr. President.
Well, it's been an interesting campaign, and you know, oftentimes they say that Hillary was a terrible candidate. They never said that I was a great candidate, but we won. It was a convincing win. It was an electoral college, I guess it was like 223 to 306. You remember that it could never be 270. I'd love to do popular vote. It would be such a thing that I would love to do a popular vote, but it's a much different kind of a contest. I think it would be actually an easier way of doing it. But the electoral college is nice because it gets you into so many different states that you wouldn't see otherwise. But we had a great campaign and we won, and the country is doing fantastically well.
Some people think you didn't actually want to win.
Well, that's such a false story. That's fake news. That was in that fake book. But that is such a false story. I mean, first of all, you know me. And I actually thought I was going to win because I'd go to stadiums, would have 25,000, 30,000 people in the stadiums. we would have a fever pitch. It was incredible what was happening that last 2 months of the campaign. And coming into the last month, I thought we were going to win. We were getting massive crowds. My opponent was not getting good crowds at all. She was getting people to, she was getting singers and entertainers to fill up the stadium. They'd finish singing and then everybody would leave. And she was left there. So I'm telling you, I really thought that I was going to win, and I very much wanted to win. If I didn't win, I would have been very disappointed.
You've had an extraordinary year. Whether people love you or loathe you, it's been extraordinarily eventful. Depending on who you talk to, you're either delivering on a lot of your promises and beginning to make America great as you vowed, or, and you know the other half of this, you're a raging, tweeting wrecking ball who's destroying the country and terrifying the entire planet.
Yeah.
How do you plead?
Well, I plead not guilty. What happened?
To all of it?
Well, I think,
second bit.
No, I think I shake things up. It had to be shaken up. The country had to be shaken up. We're doing incredibly on an economic basis, financial. Stock market just hit another new high. We've had 84 since the election, 84 new market highs. Think of that. I mean, it's incredible. It's a record. That in itself is a record. During the course of a little more than a year, we've had, think of it, 84 stock market records. It's going to go higher. Regulation, nobody's done anywhere near like I've done. I mean, that's also a record, a world record for presidents. But what happened is we passed a tax bill, not easy to get. Many people have tried to do it. They weren't able to do it. And this is the biggest one we've ever passed, bigger than the Reagan bill. And it's had a bigger impact than anybody even thought. But I would also say that the tax cuts added to the regulation cuts is what made the difference.
Earlier this month, technology giant Apple announced ambitious plans to invest in America.
This morning, they're talking about 3 main cornerstones of ways they're going to contribute back to the U.S. economy.
How significant was the Apple move?
Well, I thought it was great, but that was one move. They're going to invest $350 billion. They're going to build plants all over the place. They're going to build a college. They're going to build this incredible campus. They are fantastic. So it's a $350 billion investment, which I guess is probably the largest, or certainly right up there, largest ever made by a company. So we're doing very well. People are coming back into the country in droves. One thing very exciting to me is Chrysler. They're leaving Mexico and they're going back to Michigan. You haven't heard that in a long time. We're doing things that nobody thought possible, and the country is becoming very, very strong again economically. Unemployment is at record lows. Women unemployment, 17 years. Think of it, 17 years. Black unemployment, the best record in history, the history of our country. African American unemployment best. Hispanic unemployment best in the history of the country. All of the things that I said on the campaign trail coming true. So I'm very happy about it.
A lot of people will listen to that. A lot of people don't want to give you any credit, but a lot of that is indisputable. The economy is in good shape. The global economy is in good shape.
And that's been taken, I mean, a lot of the global economy, Piers, is because of how well we're doing. You know, most people will admit that, but we are doing well. That's helping all around the globe. That's a good thing.
Your supporters get frustrated that a lot of the tweeting, the tweet storms, the controversies, some of the more outlandish things that you occasionally say, that they distract from that kind of positive message. Do you accept that? Do you care?
I don't think it's so many of my supporters. I think a lot of other people, they use that. I don't call it tweeting, I call it social media. And you're a big social media man, by the way. I mean, you do great with it. And I think you might agree with the statement.
I like your tweets.
If I did...
I like the kind of unfettered access to the president's mind in real time.
If I wasn't able to do what I call it a modern day form of communication, okay? If I wasn't able to do that, because I get a lot of fake news, I get a lot of news that's very false, very made up. You saw all of the stories that were wrong this year. I mean, one of the stories was so wrong it drove the stock market down substantially, and it was wrong. They made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of them were made on purpose. If I don't have that form of communication, I can't defend myself. Unless I'm going to have a news conference every 15 minutes, and that's not
Do you
really very
actually tweet yourself?
I do. I also give it to people, and sometimes I'll have I had one case where a lawyer did a tweet. You know, they'd call it, I have a man, Dan Scavino, and I have people that are with me, you know, Hope.
I have this picture of you because the whole world waits for you to wake up.
They wait
on tenterhooks.
Yeah, it's just a crazy situation.
And are you actually lying in bed with your phone, working out how to wind everybody up?
Well, perhaps sometimes in bed, and perhaps sometimes at breakfast or lunch or whatever. But generally speaking, during the early morning or during the evening, I can do that. But if I'm, you know, very busy during the day, I'm very long hours and busy, and I'll sometimes just dictate out something really quickly, and they'll give it to one of my people to put it on.
Some remarkable revelations there. He tweets in bed, joking about his hair.
Oh!
It's nice to see that the unspun, unguarded Donald Trump I've known for 10 years hadn't changed a bit. But I knew I had to now push him on subjects he doesn't like talking about. His views on women.
Would you acknowledge that you had said things that perhaps you wouldn't say now?
The massive opposition to him getting a state visit to Britain.
But I think I'm very popular in your country.
Let's not be too hasty, Mr. President.
And those retweets from the racist group Britain First.
This caused huge anxiety and anger.
Well, I
From
don't
the racist
know
group
how to do
Britain
this.
First.
This caused huge anxiety and anger in my country,
Which I thought were outrageous and indefensible.
Well, this is airing in Britain, and I want them to get to the real you. And I get an apology out of you. It means a lot to people in Britain.
So you're seeing the music from there.
I'm in Davos in Switzerland at the World Economic Forum for the first international broadcast interview with President Donald Trump.
I missed you.
How are you?
How are you? Hi, Piers. How are you?
Good to see you.
I've got him to open up to me, even about his bedroom habits.
And are you actually lying in bed with your phone, working out how to wind everybody up?
Well, perhaps sometimes in bed.
But now things are about to get a bit trickier as we turn to one of the most controversial aspects of
Raise
his
your hand if you
character,
guys wanna
his
watch
views
the
on women.
There's been a few big events in the last week, one of which was the big global women's march on the first anniversary of your inauguration. The Me Too and the Time's Up campaigns have really resonated with millions of women. And they partly hold you to blame for a lot of attitude towards women. Do you have a message for them? Because we're a year on now from the last time there were all these marches. A lot is happening in that area of sexual harassment, and we've seen what's happened in Hollywood and so on. What message could you give these women who are marching that you're for them and not the problem?
Well, I am for them, and I think a lot of them understand that. You know, I won many categories of women and the women vote in the election, and people were shocked to see it. I was running against a woman, and I'm winning all of these categories. You know that better than anybody. And I think I would do even better right now if I did. In fact, we just had polls coming out just a little while ago, just before I walked into the room, that are really up tremendously. I think that's maybe because of the economy. But I just said before that women have the best unemployment number that they've had in 17 years. And they're doing tremendously in business. They're doing tremendously in so many ways. And people are starting to see that. Now, you're always going to have marches. And the march, I guess, was a lot smaller than it was last year. But
do you agree with their basic principles, which are gender equality and safety? That when it comes to safety, women want to feel safe, particularly in the workplace. Do you sign up to that?
I do, but I also think they want to feel safe at the border. I think they don't want people pouring into the country. I think they want to see our military get much stronger. I mean, women, you know, families, they want to see strength at the border. They want to see a strong law enforcement. I'm a very much law and order person and candidate when I ran. The uniformed services, the military, there's nobody better than me on the military. I've increased the budget. We're going to have a budget $700 billion this year. The Democrats, we're not going to have anywhere near that. I think women really like that. I think they want to be safe at home in many different respects. You know, there's
a lot
also
of women I spoke to about this interview. They said it would be great to hear the president, given some of the more disrespectful things that have been out there in the way you've spoken about women. Would you acknowledge that you had said things that perhaps you wouldn't say now, that you have also listened, as many men are listening right now, that you've changed, you've evolved as a man?
Well, I think we have to evolve. If we don't evolve, there's something missing. But I have tremendous respect for women. And I think you know that very well because you know me, because you spent a long period of time with me. You see all of the women I have working around me and working with me. Tremendous respect for
You have
women.
a lot of strong women around you.
I do.
You know, Melania and your team here, the press team, they're all strong women.
I know.
Do you identify as a feminist? Are you a feminist?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a feminist. I mean, I think that would be maybe going too far. I'm for women, I'm for men, I'm for everyone. I think people have to go out, they have to go out and really do it, and they have to win. And that's what, and women are doing great, and I'm happy about that.
Women are doing great.
A lot of
Fine.
stuff has been going on between you and my country, which has been...
But I think it's good. I think I'm very popular in your country.
Let's not be too hasty, Mr. President.
I know, but I believe that.
There's ads throughout this. I can mute
You
it.
can mute it. So Nigel Farage has a response to the feminist response to Donald Trump. I'm going to bring that to you at the end, though. It's kind of cute.
Yeah, it is.
Nigel
He did a whole show on it today,
He did a whole
actually.
show on
His whole live show today was on it.
But I think I'm very popular in your country.
Let's not be too hasty, Mr. President.
I know,
but
but I believe that. I really do. I believe.
a lot of
I
people,
get
I think-
so much
Are you okay?
fan
Love
mail
him.
from people in your country. They love my sense of security. They love what I'm saying about many different things. I have a great. I own the Great Turnberry and other things in your country, Turnberry in Scotland.
Yeah.
And I'm getting tremendous. I mean, we get tremendous support from people in the UK.
But there are a lot of politicians, mainly the opposition politicians. Jeremy Corbyn, Labour leader, Sadiq Khan, the
I don't
London
know
mayor.
the man. I don't know the man.
They want you banned. They don't want you to come on any kind of visit. A normal visit, a state visit, anything.
Labour big hitters Corbyn, Khan and Emily Thornberry have pulled no punches in their condemnation, giving a strong impression that they loathe the president and don't want him anywhere near the UK.
I don't think we should be rolling out the red carpet to the President of the USA.
I think it would be wrong for him to come here.
He is an asteroid of awfulness that has fallen on this world. I think that he is a danger, and I think that he is a racist.
Labour, along with the Lib Dems and many people in Britain, are absolutely clear. There should be no state visit.
Well, that's their problem. I mean, if they don't, I could very nicely stay home. But I can tell you I have a very good relationship with your Prime Minister, who I just left. And she's been doing I think she's been doing a very good job. We actually have a very good relationship, although a lot of people think we don't. I support her. I support a lot of what she does and a lot of what she says. And I support you militarily very much. I mean, we will come to your defense if anything should happen, which hopefully will never happen. But I am a tremendous supporter of the UK. Tremendous supporter. There's nobody that believes more strongly.
But you're half
again,
British, right?
Well, my mother was born in Scotland, in the Hebrides.
That makes you half British.
My mother was born in Stornoway. That's,
Yeah.
you know what they call that? Sirius, Scotland, right? That's Sirius, Scotland. She was born in Stornoway.
Mary Trump was rarely seen on camera, but we did find this clip from 1994.
Let me ask you, Mrs. Trump, a little about your Scottish origins. Where were you born?
In a little town called Stornoway, with the island of Lewis, way up in the Hebrides. Way up in the Hebrides. Yeah. Beautiful little island.
And did you live there for most of your life?
Oh, yes, I lived there. I grew up there. Came to New York, met my husband.
But do you feel half British?
I sort of do. I feel, look, I love the country. I'm in Aberdeen with a tremendous thing. I also have a great situation over in Ireland, you know what, in Doonbeg.
Yeah.
So we're there. And of course, Turnberry is one of that's the Mona Lisa, one of the great Mona Lisas of the world in terms of sport and golf. And I own Turnberry. And I love the UK. I have a special thing, maybe because it's my mother, maybe because, who I thought was one of the great people I've ever known.
President Trump rarely speaks about his mother Mary, who died in 2000. And I'm about to get a big clue about why this state visit may be so important to him.
Would she have made of what's happened to your mum?
She would have, you know, she had a great sense of regal. She had a great sense of, she had a love for the Queen. She had a love for the royal family. She really respected the Queen. And she loved the pomp and ceremony. She loved, and circumstance. but she loved the ceremony. The fact is, she loved the UK.
So she would have loved
you.
She would go back. She'd love you to get a state visit, right?
Well, she would go back every year to Scotland. She just thought it was incredible. You know, she came over here when she was 19. She came over to the United States when she was 19. She met my father it was not a long time. They got married. They were married for many, many decades. And they had a great marriage. You know, she was a terrific woman. And maybe that's, and she loved Scotland. And maybe that's one of the reasons that I feel the same way about it.
Do you feel sad that neither of your parents ever got to see their son become president of the United States?
Well, I do, but they...
Sorry, you can pause it. Just pause it.
So we have Horatio to thank for actually sending me this link because I could not find it anywhere. So he had to send this to me from the UK to actually get a link. So we have to just deal with what we have because I haven't been able to find it in the United States. Maybe it's up, but
sure
this is
it's
the
up
one
now.
that I have. So there's ads.
Ads are ads, and it takes. Yeah.
Do you feel sad that neither of your parents ever got to see their son become president of the United States?
Well, I do, but they've seen me have great success because I've had great success. And, you know, I've been successful. Even if you talk about, I do the show on television, they always turn out unsuccessful. You know, very rarely does a show become a big hit like I had. I go into that, it was hit. The real estate stuff has been, I've had a lot of hits. So they got to see a lot, but there's nothing like what happened here. I mean, the presidency is something special, but more importantly, I'm so happy with the results because if you look at what's going on and you look at our country and you look at the way it's thriving, we're having a stock market like just about they've never had before, ever before. We picked up $8 trillion in value during the course of 12 months.
I just want to pick you up on one thing about the reaction in Britain. Because a lot of people don't like you in Britain. Fueled by these politicians, fueled by some of the more inflammatory things you said. One particular thing, so I wanted to try and just clarify with you.
And in his
You retweeted an organisation called Britain First, one of the leaders, 3 times. And this
3 times, boom, boom, boom.
These retweets by Trump in November showed videos posted by the far-right group Britain First. They depicted unverified and inflammatory footage.
This caused huge anxiety and anger in my country because Britain First is basically a bunch of racist, fascist...
Of course, I didn't know that.
Well, that's what I wanted to clarify with you. What did you know about them when you did that?
Well, I know nothing about them, and I know nothing about them today other than I read a little bit. And I guess, and again, I'm in the United States, so I don't read as much about it. Perhaps it was a big story in Britain, perhaps it was a big story in the UK, but in the United States it wasn't a big story. I did a retweet, you know, retweet. Sometimes you do, retweets are very, when you do your own tweeting, or you do your own social media, it's fine. When you do those retweets, they can cause problems because you never know who's doing it to start off with.
The way it was interpreted, because you didn't take down the retweets for several weeks, the way it was interpreted was that you were effectively endorsing this bunch of racists, and that caused a lot of anger.
Well, I don't know who they are. I know nothing about them, so I wouldn't be doing that. And I am, as I say often, I am the least racist person that anybody's going to meet. And certainly I wasn't endorsing anybody. I knew nothing about them. They had I guess a couple of depictions of radical Islamic terror. Radical Islamic terror, whether you like talking about it or not, Piers, is
No, I'm going to come and talk about it.
Because, you know, you look at what's going on, in UK.
No, I'm going
to... You look at what's going on all over the world.
You're absolutely right about that.
So we can try and shield it and say, oh,
I'm not shielding anything. I do just want to get one thing out. Given the amount of offence it caused, and given you've now acknowledged that you didn't know who these people were, and they've had their accounts suspended by Twitter, do you regret those retweets? And do you wish you, with hindsight, hadn't done it?
Well, you know, look, it was done because I am a big believer in fighting radical Islamic terror. This was a depiction of radical Islamic terror.
But they were unverified videos. At least one of them was not what it seemed.
They are, but this was, I didn't do it. I didn't go out and I did a retweet. It was a big story where you are, but it was not a big story where I am.
I get that.
So you're telling me something like...
Well, this is airing in Britain, and I want them to get to the real you.
Well, I'll tell you, the real me is somebody that loves Britain, loves the UK, I love Scotland. I wish, you know, one of the biggest problems I have in winning, I won't be able to get back there so often. I would love to go there. As you know, before this happened, I would be there a lot.
I'm going to pause this really quickly. Note how Piers said some of them were unverified, and he tried to catch Trump.
At least one of them.
And at least one of them, and I don't think that you can stop us from playing in the background.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, like, just go on something else.
You wanted to
Put us
bring
in,
it up.
I know. I wanted to be able to go to the chat here.
Okay.
And I feel like this reporter, Piers Morgan, and I understand that he thinks he's being pro-Trump in this whole thing. However, to me, that was a really low blow.
Right.
In
Twitter
a way for
is
you
a
to be able
retweet,
to
right?
get to pretty much what he just said. And you want to believe somebody if they're interviewing you. He pretty much just said in a twisted way, you retweeted something that was completely unverified. But then he walked back what he said. He said at least one. And Trump didn't really catch up on that, okay? Because there were 2 videos that were verified.
But here's the other thing, right? The third video, somebody got beat up.
Yeah.
It was a real video.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like it was fake news in that it was a real thing. It was fake news in that we don't know exactly who the kid was, and then the media came out. And you have to be able to apologize and say, okay, I didn't know that that's not what that was. I have seen other videos like that, though.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to put that out there.
Right.
And so.
All right, my vote's for us to just go ahead and finish it. It's only like 18 minutes left.
Very special people in a very special place. So I don't want to cause any difficulty for your country, that I can tell you.
Can I get an apology out of you just for the retweets of
Well, if you're telling me
I think it would go a long way.
Then here's what's fair. If you're telling me there's a horrible people, horrible racist people, I would certainly apologize if you'd like me to do that. I know nothing about them.
And you would disavow yourself of people like that?
I don't want to be involved with people, but you're telling me about these people because I know nothing about these people.
Thank you.
I do like
Thank you.
that. And here we go with the commercial again. But it's so funny. It's a local ad too.
I like the way Trump said it. I don't know those people. You're forcing me into a corner. You're telling me they're racist.
Be involved with people, but you're telling me about these people because I know nothing about these people.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
It means a lot to people in Britain.
Okay, good.
Doesn't
On
really.
the issue of trade, you were
Really,
very
nobody
encouraging
cares.
when you
I
met
don't think
Theresa
they
May, and Barack Obama came over to Britain just before the
So
EU
what,
referendum and said if we voted to leave, we'd go to the back of the queue. What is your position now? Are we at the front of the queue for a new trade deal with America?
So we are going to make a deal with UK that'll be great. As you know, you're somewhat restricted because of Brexit. You have a 2-year restriction, and when that restriction is up, we're going to be your great trading partner. It's a tough restriction to have. You know, for a couple of years, you have a very strong lack of being able to do things.
That sounds to me like a significant vote of confidence from a US leader, who called the Brexit result on Good Morning Britain 3 months before the Brits went to the polls.
I think that Britain will separate from the EU. I think maybe it's time, especially in light of what's happened with the craziness that's going on with the migration, with people pouring in all over the place. I think that Britain will end up separating from the EU. That's my opinion.
So how come he called it right?
Because I know the British people, and I understand the British people, and the British people wanted to have control over their country, and they don't have people coming from all over the world into Britain, and they don't know anything about these people. And I said, because of immigration, and to a certain extent because of trade, but mostly immigration, I said that Brexit is going to be a big upset, and I was right.
And now we've seen how it's played out. Do you believe that we're in a good position, Britain? A lot of people are still very nervous, very anxious, but hearing the President of the United States saying, hey, well, there's plenty of good trade coming from me, that's a big deal to people in Britain.
Well, would it be the way I negotiate? No, I wouldn't negotiate it the way it's negotiated, but I have a lot of respect for your Prime Minister, and I think they're doing a job. I think I would have negotiated it differently. I would have had a different attitude.
What would you have done?
I think I would have said that the European Union is not cracked up to what it's supposed to be. And I would have taken a tougher stand in getting out.
I like
that. I have a lot of problems with the European Union.
Yeah, well, you've done business with them.
They're not a question of doing business, but I will tell you, to do representing the United States, it's a very unfair situation. We cannot get our product in. It's very, very tough. And yet they send their product to us. No taxes, very little taxes. It's very unfair. I've had a lot of problems with European Union, and it may morph into something very big from that standpoint, from a trade standpoint. The European Union has treated the United States very unfairly when it came to trade. They're not the only one, by the way. I could name many countries and places that do. But the European Union has been very, very unfair to the United States. And I think it'll turn out to be very much to their detriment.
So are we front of the queue, or are we behind the French? Because we're a bit worried about Emmanuel Macron, who's been all over you, trying to be your new best friend.
No, I like him. He's a friend of mine, Emmanuel. He's a great guy. His wife is fantastic.
Not a fan of
I like him a lot. You know, we had dinner at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Well, he rolled up the red carpet. It sounded to me like President Macron has swept President Trump off his feet, and that France and America were the new special relationship. But it wasn't the only fascinating insight. Telling me he wasn't a feminist was a big admission for a man whose election had brought millions of women to the streets to protest. And I knew what big news that apology for retweeting Britain First would be in the UK. This isn't, after all, a president who apologises very often. Now it was time to press him on an issue very close to my heart. Months after two of the worst mass shootings in American history, would President Trump ever take action on new gun laws? Would he attend the royal wedding after the bride said this about him?
Meghan Markle did say you were a divisive misogynist.
And how healthy or smart really is President Trump?
I am a stable genius.
We're gonna go to I think we probably are.
You've been busy?
A little busy.
I knew the first international television interview with President Donald Trump was going to be special. But I hadn't expected the Commander-in-Chief.
Cut off. I didn't think so. But the ad does. I think that this is well worth playing. We didn't do a long segment the first time.
You know, it's funny. I wonder if anybody will interview him who actually, like, is this the nicest interview he's going to get?
Probably. Oh, yeah. Hands down. I think anybody else would have been much more hardline.
Television interview with President Donald Trump was going to be special.
So biased, though.
But I hadn't expected the Commander-in-Chief to be quite so candid.
I said that Brexit is going to be a big upset, and I was right.
There were other important issues I wanted to get to. Terrorism.
A lot of Muslims think you hate them.
The environment.
Do you believe in climate change? Do you think it exists?
And of course, football.
This is an Arsenal shirt, Mr. President.
He'll be so happy.
Are you an Arsenal fan too?
But first, Downing Street had just announced that President Trump's on-off visit to the UK was back on.
I just want to thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here.
Yeah, this is
so what would he say to his many critics in this country?
My irritation with my country, we've given state visits to Bashar al-Assad, to Robert Mugabe, to Vladimir Putin, and to President Xi. So the implication from them trying to ban you is that somehow you're worse than they are.
Well, I haven't heard about banning, but I think a lot of the people in your country like what I stand for. They respect what I stand for.
And to those who don't,
I do stand for tough borders.
I'm going to come to that now, but to those who don't, what do you say to them?
I don't care. I don't care. It's just one of those things. I don't say anything. You know why? Because I don't care.
Yo, I don't care.
Let's turn to security, national security. You've been very tough on this. You vowed again, in an interview with Good Morning Britain, you were going to hammer ISIS hard. ISIS is now out of Iraq and Syria. I mean, that's a big double success for you, right? Are we winning?
By the way, we would have never been there with the previous administration.
Are we winning the war
and I
against
have to say
ISIS?
this, with the economy, had the previous administration in its own form, in a different form, or let's put it, if the Democrats won, instead of being almost 50% up, they would have been 50% down, because the United States was heading in a very bad direction. Yeah, we've done very well in Iraq. We've done very well in Syria. We've hammered them, but they spread. They go all over. It's not a good situation, and nobody knows it better than the folks in the UK. You've had some tough bouts.
A lot of Muslims think you hate them. You hate
totally
Muslims.
false. No, that's false.
Clarify what you feel about that.
I feel love for all people, but if a person's bad, we got to do something about it. There's got to be retribution. But I've had great relationships with Muslims, and I had good support from Muslims during my presidential run. And I think I have good support right now. You know, it's interesting. They want to be safe also, Piers. And they like me because I give them security.
It's a really good
I have a great relationship and respect for Muslims.
The Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns.
I've made many enemies in America for my relentless criticism of their gun laws, or rather their lack of them, and the constitutional right to bear arms known as the Second Amendment. I'm in favour of a nationwide ban on military-style semi-automatic assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Every year, more than 30,000 people in the US are killed by gun violence. I wanted to put the president on the spot.
Only
8 people were killed in America by Islamist terrorism in 2006.
Pause. Because I don't know where he's going with this. Okay.
Man in his girly pants.
But here is the thing with the gun laws.
Yes, we love God and we love guns. This is America.
Piers. And it's not even that kind of redneck. The truth of the matter is that according to our Constitution, we have to have a ready militia,
right?
Like at all times,
right?
We have the right and the duty to bear arms in our country.
Britain's still Britain, and we're America because we have guns.
Very true.
And we're not Britain because we had guns.
But more than that, hey Piers, let's talk about the guns that committed the atrocious act at Las Vegas. Because if that is what you want to go by, they were illegally obtained. Okay,
he got his guns legally.
Did he? Because okay, hang on. This is
lie.
Michelle's conspiracy theory in my mind, speaking out loud. I believe he was a gun runner. I believe that these guns were illegal. I maybe the guns that he actually used were registered, whatever. What I meant by that is
he was doing something
illegal with
the
these weapons.
Right.
Okay, it's not that
our running theory, conspiracy theory, is he had so many guns, and with the emails going back and forth, he was running the guns.
There was a massive amount of illegal activity
going
on.
to have illegal gun runners,
and so it doesn't matter. The criminals are going to get the guns irregardless.
And if good people don't have the guns, they won't be able to stop the bad people with the guns.
Very true, because so many, I don't know how many, not just terrorist attacks, but just regular crazy attacks have been stopped by a good guy with a gun. Remember the other church shooting that happened?
Absolutely.
That could have been the equivalent of
Sutherland
Texas shooting.
He was on his way to another church. Shoot up
No, I meant the one with that other crazy guy that went in the church, and then the one little guy pulled out his gun for the parking lot.
There was 2 church shootings.
But I'm just saying that one was specifically stopped by they were both stopped with the guy with a gun. I don't know. I was just thinking about the one right off the top of my head. But my point is,
play this clip.
That it's the illegal guns are going to happen.
Right.
Things Las Vegas would have happened with illegal guns or
Sweden
legal guns. It doesn't matter.
Gun violence, but I don't think they're allowed to own guns as citizens.
Exactly. So
17. By comparison, domestic gun violence killed at least 30,000. There was another mass shooting in a school this week in Kentucky, the 12th this year alone. 2 of the worst mass shootings in American history have happened on your watch in Las Vegas and at the church in Texas.
Islam's doing a lot of things in your country.
People will be saying, you're very tough on security. You want to keep Americans safe.
You want to keep British people
safe. But if you don't
safe,
do anything about gun violence at all,
you're not doing anything about Muslim
that
terror
seems an irrational position for somebody who wants to keep Americans safe.
I'm a very big Second Amendment person, as you know very well. But take a look at Paris, where you have very, very tough gun controls. Take a look at that horrible slaughter that took place at the cafes, where so many people were killed. And you had these thugs come in with guns, and one by one, for a long time, they just killed, and hundreds of people and wounded to this day, still in the hospitals. That was one of the worst. And you've had many of them, where there are no guns except for the bad guys. So the bad guys have the guns, and if you would have had somebody with a gun right here, when they walked in, so that you could have had...
Perfect time for an ad. Perfect time for an ad, because I love where Donald Trump is going with this. Good guys with guns stop bad guys with guns. We're always
the bad guys are going to have the guns.
We're always going to have guns. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
The military is always going to have guns. The bad guys are going to get their hands on guns.
Exactly. So, good answer, Trump.
And if you would have had somebody with a gun right here, when they walked in, so that you could have had bullets going in the other direction, you wouldn't have had hundreds of people killed.
But here's the
by the way, you have many of those. You look at San Bernardino, California. These guys walk in, The people that they knew, they walk in and they start one by one shooting them.
But
they had no chance.
Okay, but here's the difference.
But Piers, but they had no chance.
Okay, but let me give you the other side of this coin. I come from a country with very few guns, right? We have 32 gun deaths a year. America, every day.
But you have a lot of terrorism.
Right. Yeah, that's separate to it. On the gun issue, let me just put this to you. The Vegas shooter, Stephen Paddock, he bought 55 guns legally in the year prior to his rampage, including 13 AR-15 semi-automatic rifles that he then equipped with bump stocks, which effectively converted them into machine guns, which are illegal, and he rained bullets down on 20,000 people in America.
I know very well, it's terrible.
Why has nothing been done to stop somebody doing that again?
We do have gun control laws.
Do you have truck control
this
in Britain?
Person, he was a sicko. I mean, that's the big problem.
Do you have truck control?
If he didn't have a gun, he would have had a bomb or he would have had something else.
But he had 55 guns.
The point is he would have had 55 bombs. He would have had 55 of something else.
Why can't you make it difficult for him?
You know, it's an argument that people, I've heard it every different way, and we can go around this argument.
Now they're going to
I'm a Second Amendment person. I think you need it for security. I think it would be far worse. I think you need it for security. But again, you've had so many attacks where there was only a gun, a bad person's gun, going in this direction, and if you had one on the other side, so many. In fact, that's a very big example. And if they had the bullets going in the opposite direction, you would have saved a lot of lives. So I get what you're saying, but I believe in the Second Amendment.
Quick fire. Climate change. For you, is it about the science or about the money? The Paris Accords.
I think it's about everything, and I'm a believer in clean air and clean water. The Paris Accord for us would have been a disaster.
Are you completely out of that?
I'm completely out of it.
No way back?
It could be a way back. First of all, it was a terrible deal for the United States. If they made a good deal, like if they made a good deal with TPP, on, you know, having to do with trade, there's always a chance we get back. But it was a terrible deal for the United States. It was unfair to the United States.
Do you believe in climate change? Do you think it exists?
There is a cooling and there's a heating. I mean, look, it used to not be climate change. It used to be global warming, right? That wasn't working too well because it was getting too cold all over the place. The ice caps were going to melt. They were going to be gone by now, but now they're setting records, okay? They're at a record level. There were so many things happening, Piers. I'll tell you what I believe in. I believe in clean air. I believe in crystal clear, beautiful water. I believe in just having good cleanliness and all. Now, with that being said, if somebody said go back into the Paris Accord, if we could go back into the Paris Accord, but it would have to be a completely different deal because we had a horrible deal. As usual, they took advantage of the United States. We were in a terrible deal. Would I go back in? Yeah, I'd go back in. I like, as you know, I like Emmanuel. No, I like Emmanuel. Right. I would love to, but it's got to be a good deal for the United States.
Last year, pictures emerged showing Donald Trump Jr. on past big game trophy hunts. One image of him holding the tail of a dead elephant caused uproar. Then in November, it was announced by a department of President Trump's government that a ban was being lifted on bringing elephant hunting trophies back into the US. To many people's surprise, the president paused that decision. So what does he really think? Quick question on trophy hunting. You seem to indicate that you've had a change of mind about this, or you'd like the administration to.
Well, I changed it. I didn't want elephants killed and stuffed and have the tusks brought back into this. And people can talk all they want about preservation and all of the things that they're saying, where money goes toward, well, money was going, in that case, going to a government, which...
I have to agree with Trump on this one.
Yeah.
You know, we're libertarians, but yeah, I don't think you should be allowed to bring that stuff back into the United States. Hands down, no way. So you have to crack down on that for sure.
Be nice in the comments.
And all of the things that they're saying, where money goes toward, well, money was going, in that case, going to a government, which was probably taking the money, okay? I turned that order around. You know, that was an order.
I know you did. I was very pleased to see
totally turned around.
I tweeted
were you
to
shocked?
congratulate you.
Were you shocked that
I was surprised, but I also said to people, you will listen to argument. You know, my problem with all the hysterical liberals who lie on the floor kicking and screaming all day long about you, if they actually tried to reason with you and argue with you, I noticed on that,
you indicated you changed your mind, and you've now said you have.
That was done by a very high-level government person. As soon as I heard about it, I turned it around that same day. Not even a day went by. No, I was not believing in conservation. That
People will love to hear that.
Yeah.
Quick question about your health.
Go ahead.
Everyone was being led to believe that you were insane and physically incredibly unfit. It turned out from a recent medical that you
I'm
are
not. It's
30,
not everyone.
30 in your
Pierce,
cognitive
where are you
tests.
coming up with this
Most
stuff?
people
Right.
are not going to
You're
do
acting-
well.
to you.
You're acting
As
like
you
an
said,
idiot.
stable,
This is embarrassing.
genius, your words.
I am a stable genius. Go ahead.
And healthy. I mean, you've never had a drink, you've never smoked, you've never taken drugs. We do see lots of pictures of you with burgers and Cokes and stuff. It's an unusual diet for...
Don't want to change that. No.
You-
they build that up. I eat fine food. I eat really some of the finest chefs in the world. I eat healthy food. I also have some of that food on occasion. Sometimes it makes sense. Actually, when you're campaigning, there's a lot of sense to it because it's, boom, boom, boom. But no, I think I eat actually quite well.
Health matters sorted. Next, I wanted to ask the president about the royal wedding, a potential diplomatic nightmare where the American princess-to-be had previously made rather scathing remarks about him.
Yes, of course Trump is divisive. Think about just female voters alone, right? I mean, I think it was in 2012, the Republican Party lost the female vote by 12 points. That's a huge number. And with as misogynistic as Trump is and so vocal about it, that's a huge chunk of it. You're not just voting for a woman if it's Hillary just because she's a woman, but certainly because Trump has made it easy to see that you don't really want that kind of world.
Have you got an invite to the royal wedding?
Pause there. Okay, because I really can't stand this chick, and I'm really sorry that she's going into the royal family. Here's the thing. That is a blanket statement with zero
evidence,
fact or evidence to back it
and
up.
nothing about Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton on how Hillary Clinton covered up all of her husband's sexual misdeeds.
Yeah.
And how her very own husband, this is a twilight zone that we live in, where Hillary Clinton literally slammed all the women who came against Bill, her own very own husband.
Did you just say camed?
Camed. Just keep playing.
Sorry.
She's a
Have
cute
I?
little Hallmark actress.
Not that I know.
Would you like to go?
I want them to be happy. I really want them to be happy. They look like a lovely couple.
Gosh, he's such a
Meghan
good
Markle
guy.
did say you were a divisive misogynist.
Well, I still hope they're happy.
I'm going to make you happy now.
Go ahead.
Because your son, Barron, is a massive fan of my football team in
That's
London,
true.
Arsenal. And we
That's
saw
true.
pictures of him in his dress. So he's an Arsenal fan,
Right,
right?
that's true.
We've been going through a rough patch for a long period of time. People think it's time for a change of leadership at my club. Barron, I'm sure, shares my view, right?
I don't know
I have
about
something
that.
for you. I've done...
Oh, good. Wow.
This is an Arsenal shirt, Mr.
Wow,
President.
he'll be so happy.
POTUS 45.
That's good.
Trump 45.
Wow.
Right? We're looking for a new leader who has probably an attacking philosophy, who believes in a strong defensive wall, and who believes in winning at all costs, and only wants big trophies.
Well, I think that's beautiful. You know, I have a son who does love this sport. He loves
And he
it.
loves Arsenal, right?
And it's growing very rapidly in the United States.
Are you an Arsenal fan too?
Not particularly, no. But
At least he's on.
I have a friend who owns Manchester United, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but
Wow.
that's okay.
That could kill our special relationship.
pretty good, I know.
Anyway, that's for you. And if you
I
do
love
want to
that.
come and manage Arsenal, we
great.
would love it.
That's beautiful. We'll do very well.
Mr. President, it's
Thank
been
you
great to
very
catch
much.
up with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
All
much
right.
for your time.
So-
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and cut that off there. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did. Just hanging out with you guys and watching this interview. We were only going to play the highlights. I guess I need to change the title. It just says The Interview with commentary. So, listen, I have to tell you, I'm really glad that Piers did this interview. And I'm glad that he was open and honest. And that's one thing here at Resistance Chicks that we always say. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. If you can come together in peace and find the good in...
I don't know why I felt so much on this show. It's so embarrassing.
It's just nerves. If you can find the good... No, you don't ever get nervous here, so I don't know what that is. But if you can find the good in the other person and call it out, that's how a good communicator and a good diplomat acts. I don't like that Trump says that he likes Emmanuel Macron, but that aside, he did knock it out of the park.
So amicable. I want them to be happy. Do you want to be invited? I want them to be happy. I mean, seriously. So for kicks here, I want you to...
Really, with interviews is what people want. Let's hear what they've got to say. In the second part, he pushed him hard. He pushed him over the Britain First retweets. Trump explained, didn't know who they were, but if he had to apologise, he would. And it was all very good. But there was one question that I found really curious. Now, it could be that I'm hopelessly out of touch with society in this country. I don't know. But Piers asked President Trump whether he identified as a feminist.
Clip's coming up. Hang on.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a feminist. I mean, I think that would be maybe going too far. I'm for women, I'm for men, I'm for everyone.
Okay, so Trump would not identify as a feminist. And then this morning, I was on with Piers on Good Morning Britain against Vince Cable, having a chat about Trump and whether he should be banned from coming to this country or not. And Piers asked me the same question, whether I would identify as a feminist.
Are you a feminist?
I didn't understand the question.
Are you a feminist?
I don't know what it means. How can I be?
You don't know what feminism means?
Well, you can be a feminist.
I'm not a sissy man.
A man can't be a feminist.
Piers calls himself a feminist.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so.
I identify as a feminist.
Well, I wouldn't, no. I would say, let everybody be equal, live in a fair society.
You're not a feminist either.
Is that feminism?
That's feminism.
What is feminism?
You tell me what you think feminism is.
I don't know. You tell me what it is.
Who's on first, what's on second?
Well, that was how my day started, having a debate about what feminism is. Why did I say what I said, and why do I think the president said what he said? Well, to begin with, I think that it's difficult for a man to identify as a feminist. It simply
Nigel's
feels
not a sissy
very
man.
awkward thing to say.
Yay,
Secondly,
Nigel.
I do genuinely wonder what the term feminism now means. It seems to me that perhaps it's been hijacked by some people who seem to have a rather anti-men and somewhat negative agenda. I think if the question was asked, do you believe in equal rights for men and women, the answer is simple, isn't it? Yes. And quite why we obsess on this word, on this label, I simply don't know. I've been fascinated ever since that interview that so many London-based media commentators have condemned me for not identifying as a feminist. And folks, my view is that this is an issue on which the London media bubble has got it completely and utterly wrong. Men in this country don't want to identify as feminists. Actually, the vast majority of women don't want to identify as feminists because it's taken on these sort of overtones of being something that can be somewhat extreme, somewhat anti-men, and not perhaps particularly helpful. That is my view. That is what I think. I think it's a label that doesn't really work.
Yes, we are Borg.
But look, tell me that I am completely...
So he has people call in.
We Are Borg says Nigel's man card must be too big for his wallet. Absolutely. Henry says there's only two genders in this world, man and woman, male and female.
You know, we watched Hidden Fences last night.
Awful.
We love Denzel Washington, and we've heard it had just any new movie.
Stop.
They're back.
Right there.
We watched some older movies, even from like the 90s. Like, oh man, or like 80s. Movies used to be like decent.
Yeah.
You know?
But the agenda throughout, it was misogynistic.
It was racist, incredibly racist. I sure hope B-Lady's here because there was something going on in the chat. I don't know what was going on. John Daniels.
We'll leave y'all to it, whatever.
What's going on? Just, yeah, protect each other. Be nice to each other. Don't let people be mean to each other, please. In the chat there. Thanks, guys. You can definitely discuss things and disagree, but personal attacks and things like that is not founded. So anyways, you've got Denzel Washington. If you haven't seen this movie, I'm going to ruin it for you. Don't see it. Just don't. You know what? If you want to be depressed, if you literally want to be depressed, watch that movie. It made me cry. Like I cried at the end.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking to myself, this cannot be what black families were. All black families were in the 50s.
Yeah.
It's racist, showing first of all that like basically putting black people in a box and white people in a box. The guy's incredibly racist against white people, and he won't let his son play football. and he cheats on his wife, and he has a baby with another woman, and he's not sorry about it the whole movie.
Till the end, not even at the end. I'm giving the whole thing away.
Yeah, it's and at the end you see like he has this horrible rough life, and he can't get ahead because he's a black man. Right? And so because he can't get ahead, he treats his family horribly.
And that's where I draw the line. Like, listen, I understand that there were a lot of black people, most, that were treated horribly, and they had every reason. But here's the thing. We've all had times where we've been treated horribly.
Badly
and so
abused.
as a human being, we have the opportunity to either reciprocate and become even more hateful.
Right.
Or to take the high road.
So like you feel
morally.
bad for him because he tells the story when he's 14 years old. He catches his dad, I believe, having an affair with another woman, and he tries to beat his dad up, and his dad beats him up, and at 14 he leaves the house, right? So then he
was 17, but yeah.
No, he was 14 when he left the house.
He joined the army, left the house and joined the army.
That was the kid. I'm talking about
Denzel
Washington's character.
You're right.
He was a kid.
You're right.
And so you feel sorry for him as a character, and then he ends up doing the same thing to his wife and his family. And I'm not sure how I got onto this, but it's kind of like if we do have a big racist country, right? Why not make movies about black people that show black people with good, loving, healthy families instead of showing black people as being thugs and going to prison and having affairs and cheating on their wives and beating their family.
So then again,
why not have
also
positive
racist
movies?
From both angles, from all angles, and throughout the entire movie, Denzel uses the N-I-G-G-E-R word
and over and over. And you know what happens? You get desensitized to things like that, and so then that word is going to come into your mind because it's said over and over again, and then people are going to call you racist if somebody slips and says this word because it's been said over and over and over again. Especially for kids, it's PG-13, right? So you see him as a cool black guy actor, right, using the N-word, and then other kids use the N-word
in a lighthearted, funny way.
In a funny way. It wasn't used in a bad way. It was a funny way. Like you can use this word over and over again. So, anyways, it was random. It was just awful to see. I'm like, if you really feel like there's racism in this country, if you really feel that black people aren't treated well, if you really feel that Hispanics aren't treated well,
or women, I think that's how you got started with the feminist thing,
then make movies that make people look that aspire. That's what movies used to do. It used to teach us something, give us a moral thing at the end.
The lady who is also a black lady, and she tells us this for our benefit so that we know. She says, remember I mentioned this last week, most blacks don't like whites. I am a small percentage of the exception. Now, my experience with black people is like 95%.
So Christians have been always.
It wasn't
been our
until
friends.
we were down in North Carolina and we were treated horribly.
Yeah.
But other than that, like here, at least in Ohio, I just view black people as people, and they view me as people. I was just
pumping gas tonight, and there was a black man, but he had a cross on his hat, like Christian black people, right? He had a cross on his hat, and I smiled at him, and he's like, "How you doing? Having a good?" And he was an older guy, and his wife and him were pumping gas together, and she was telling him what to do. It was really funny. And I was just like, it was just a sweet older couple, and it's kind of like, that's where where we're at in Cincinnati.
But what really gets me is that feminists or anybody that feels, and this is, I was watching Nigel live today when he was going with this message, and I thought about calling in, but I didn't because we only had 10 minutes left. But what gets me with feminism or black people or whatever, when they become a feminist or a member of Black Lives Matter, what they're doing,
black activist.
Thank you. They are saying, I am less, and I need a handicap to be treated as more. It's not, they're literally not saying, no, you just treat me as less and now you need to treat me as equal. That's not at all what they are saying. They are literally admitting we are less and we need to be treated as more. And my comment to Nigel was, I don't feel unequal to a man. So I don't need a handicap. I don't need a hand up. I don't need somebody to treat me as
all these
special.
Feminist women saying that Trump has done horrible things for women. I go out every day. I'm treated wonderfully wherever I go, whatever I do as a female.
I'm trying to think of any time, aside from like almost sexual harassment.
Yeah.
That aside, it's totally different than like.
I've never been treated because you're a female, you can't do A, B, or C.
Yeah. It's just a joke. I mean, our guy across the street we call him Uncle Walt. When it comes to doing man projects or whatever,
you're just a girl.
You're just a girl. But he's joking because he knows that we will do the job that we are physically inferior to a guy to do, but we can do it and we do it, and we get props for that.
Right.
So I actually see it as the other way. I see women doing jobs that usually only a man can or should or would do, and everybody's like, wow, look at that. That's awesome. Men are treated like this in our society, and women are treated like they're goddesses when they're not. So, all right.
It's just, yeah.
It's a funny old world, ain't it?
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna sign off here. I hope
we have all this sane black people watch our show.
That's true, though. It really is true. So I want to thank you guys for being here. I don't know how many moderators were here tonight. It looked like it was just Will and Sooks for a long time. So guess what? We gave Donna Terry a wrench. We know her in real life. We have met her.
She hasn't had a wrench yet?
She did not have a wrench, and now she does.
Excuse me, why do I have a wrench that's dangerous in my hand?
Going over the comments here. So Donna is almost always faithfully here. So 2 qualifications for getting wrenched there. So if our live streams continue to get bigger, there are a couple more people that I would definitely like to be able to hand out wrenches to. I just don't want it to all be moderators in the chat.
Yeah, we don't want people to be...
Leah's looking over the comments. We want everybody to be able to be heard in the chat without there just being a bunch of blue there. But all right, you guys, we're gonna sign off. Thanks to Nate, who we also know in real life, who showed up. I think Will showed up at the end. That's right. So thank you for showing up at the end, Will. It's good to see you. Robin Poe says conservatives treat women better. You scrolled past the comment as I was reading it. Then liberals, conservatives are gentlemen. More often than not, I do see that that's true.
Oh, absolutely, because the liberals are all like, women, you want to pay for my meal?
And that's what makes me mad about this
You want to open my door, woman?
Okay.
That's the liberals.
The feminist movement has ruined it for women. These women have no idea how good they had it. Opening doors, the guy picking up the check. I mean, come on.
B-Lady says, remember, no one said you don't like blacks. Blacks think you all have white privilege.
Yeah, that's very true. And we don't.
You know what? If I go to South Africa, I'm not going to feel it very much.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. It's a sticky subject to talk about sometimes because you want to... It's just such a sticky subject because you don't know, you haven't walked in somebody else's shoes, right?
Right.
So I can only I walk in my shoes and I see what happens in other people's shoes. And a lot of you guys know this. We, our parents divorced. We lived in government housing. It was probably, I'd say 85% black, 15% white. Mm-hmm. And, when we were young girls, I had an experience. I didn't know about racism. Racism is taught. You are not born with it.
Right.
Children who are taught to love God like we are.
Yeah.
I just love people who are nice.
Yeah.
I love people who are kind.
Right.
Why would you look at somebody's skin color when you've been abused, when you've been treated badly, when your own rich? I tell people I am more afraid of rich white men than anything else, because those are the people who have abused me in my life.
Right.
Those are the people who have had power over me as a child to abuse me.
Yeah.
So that's the funnel that I see. So other people have been abused in other different ways, or hurt in other different ways, or maybe just loved in other different ways. But when we moved into government housing, I started riding my bikes with a group of boys. It was like we were in 4th grade, and I loved riding bikes. I was riding bikes in the woods. One white boy, and the rest were all black boys. And we were all riding bikes because that's what kids do. Kids just play when they're not taught anything else. Kids just play. And there was a gang of girls, one white girl and about 20 black girls. And they were all upset because they thought that I was flirting with the one white girls, with the one white boys as like her boyfriend. Okay. And we're like in 4th or 5th grade, fourth grade.
Ridiculous.
And they were going to beat me up. And then the projects manager, was a white guy with big long hair and a big beard, and he's yelling at me because I'm riding my bike in the grass or something. I didn't know what to do, and here I am, like this white kid, this little white girl, and I'm just so afraid. I didn't know that you people. I didn't know I was supposed to be afraid of you people. I didn't know you were mean to me, right? Michelle and I go outside. We're gonna jump rope, right? We're gonna do double dutch, and we're like, hey girls, can we play? They're all black. I didn't think of it. They're singing songs and they're jumping rope. I want to jump rope.
Let us join. It depended.
Well,
it
took a while.
Depended on who was.
It took a while. We stood there and we just like hammered. We just really bothered them.
Yeah.
Until they let us play, and then we showed them that we were good, and then they let us play. So it's a tricky situation. It's obviously, like Martin Luther King says, I don't judge people by the color of their skin, but the conduct of their character. Are you nice? Are you kind? Are you loving? Are you going to try to steal from me? Are you going to try to hurt me? No, let's be friends. We have some black. We have black friends, and we love them. Christian black friends.
If and Brian is still here, let me know in the chat because he sent us something in the mail. If he's still here, I'll go ahead and.
You didn't want to start with it, like.
Well, I guess we could. You want to save it for next time?
Yeah.
Okay. They're asking for a song. We don't have a song to give them. The guitar's upstairs.
Are those all there? I guess is that a song we could do those?
That's why I was. But only if he's here. Oh yeah, he's still here. All right. You gotta grab them. They're all right there. All right, so Brian, aka 6569, sent us a package in the mail that I picked up today, and I think they're called face shields.
Let's put on these ones first.
Okay. All right, I gotta get mine. Make sure it's.
Oh, Michelle had this one on last. It smells like you.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, not bad thing. It just does.
Okay, hang on. All right, now you're gonna have to look at me, and I'm gonna look at you to make sure it's straight.
I can see it.
Can you see it? Yours in the thing. All right, now. Wait, mine's not straight. Okay, they're breathable, and I was actually really pleasantly surprised at just how breathable they are. Oh, are we still on Piers? I didn't know we were here the whole time. Sorry.
Oh, that stinks.
All right, there we go. That is. Fantastic. No, yours is cockeyed. Your nose is not on your nose. There it is. All right. Now, I had this one on earlier, and I realized that if you move your chin, it kind of, because this is my chin, it moves the mouth of this thing. And I think it's just absolutely fantastic. Now, I don't have the actual video up, but there's like a million different ways that you can wear these things. That being one of them, I think. Hang on, let me see if I can.
There's a beanie
I have this
one.
I don't know. I'm not going to be able to do the one that takes it up on your face. Wait, and then around the head because I have a big bun. You'll have to do that one. There's a beanie one. Hang on. Sook's got us. There are ones that aren't insulated, but he got these for us for dog walking. I think the non-insulated ones are a little bit easier to move in and out. Leah's.
I haven't mastered them.
I was practicing with it earlier. Okay, hang on. So I can do this. Not just the beanie, because I wear my hair like this more often than I do anything else, regardless of what you guys see us as. So what I really was excited about was that you can fold this over, okay, twice, and then I'm gonna do it like that. Isn't that fantastic? It's so cool. It's awesome. It's real. I think I probably need to have this on the side, but it'd be better in a mirror.
You fold it over before you put it on?
You inside it out. Yeah. Inside it out and then fold it back on itself. But there's like a million different ways to wear
like this?
To wear it.
Like that? Like in half?
Yeah. Like that. I'm trying to remember some of the other ways that the guy had it.
They do them fast.
You can do it just as like a, if I could fold this over one more time, it's more of just like a headband here. Wait a minute. Just like ear bands. Yours, he's like, mine. Yeah, you need help.
Wait.
How were we doing them earlier with our hair down? So that we looked like Russian. Hang on. Let's see. There's other ones in this. Wait. Let me see. I love that you guys are sticking. They're really cool, and I love. There's the ones for dogs.
I like this
they go
one.
around their neck. Here, let me go ahead and try one of these other ones on. There's a patriotic one with the American flag here, which I thought was really awesome. So I'm trying to think how I want to do that one. Okay, I think this will be right. Yeah. Okay. This smells like you now that I'm putting it on. No, wait, I don't think I wanted to do it this way, but that's all right. I wanted the flag part in the front. But earlier when I had my hair down and it was all like, you guys know how long my hair is. It was all coming out the back. It actually looked really, really cool coming out the back, but then you can just fold it back. But what was the coolest part? You're not showing them the bank robber. Hang on. I'm gonna just do it.
Bank robber.
Watch it, people. We're getting a whole. Wow, that's scary. You're getting the whole wardrobe change part. Here.
Mom said you have a burqa now.
Okay. Now, trying to remember how the guy did this one. Okay, almost. Okay, so great. Now, he had somehow, I feel like I'm like one of those wind things. He had this in his face. No. He had this. This is
definitely a burqa look.
I didn't try this one yet. How did he do it? I'm trying to remember. He had like these like tucked into the side so that he could rob a bank. Like this somehow. I'm not going to rob a bank with my bangs sticking out, but there. I think that's how he did it. There. I knew I would get it. But it would be better. It would be better the other way. Wait. I'm ready to rob a bank now, though. Really. Fact of the matter is, oh, look, hello, now you look like a wonderful Muslim. This is so great. I'm an American
That is Muslim-y. That's what it's like, because they have to have
I love how it's like moving all of my face, like look at my face, look at my eyes there. It's like pushing everything. Here. No, but in all
I know why
honesty,
the Muslims do it, because it makes your face look a little bit smaller. Maybe you could tuck your cheeks in like here.
This is so great. I hope you guys don't mind. We could totally stop the video here, or we can just keep. Oh, that's fun. Look at that. There goes my earring.
That is so like 90s, baby.
I don't know, but it's warm. Whatever the heck.
I've decided I don't want to be Muslim.
Well, look at this.
I can't do the neck
here.
choking thing.
Just...
But I think that this is definitely a Muslim looking thing.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Okay, but now I'm going to show you earlier what I was talking about. All right. Wait for it. Oh, whoa. Hang on.
I have to say that the models that they've used,
oh no, they look super awesome.
They look so awesome.
I watched the video.
I did too.
You did?
Yeah, you showed me the video.
Brian, like I said, he sent me one. This is not, my bangs aren't working here, but I feel like a Russian mother, you know, there with my, hang on, wait, hair. Don't I look Russian? Very Russian. So.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian, now that we've had a wonderful hair malfunction, real deal. I haven't even seen any of the comments here. Hope you guys are as excited about these as we are. But seriously, thank you, Brian. It's so useful. I had this one on today, minus the face part, because I think that's kind of scary. Like, no, like for real. This is really scary. The other one, especially, with the cigar, I feel like if I were to be attacked, like I'm walking dogs and someone were to try to attack me, I think that this would ward off an attacker. Like, seriously, I really think that they would not come attacking.
No, they wouldn't. Especially if you just started to go after them.
Looking like this. I just don't think that it... I don't think that they would try to attack. So,
all right,
Brian, thank you. Or you can just wear it as a nice little neck scarf, which is actually super warm. My neck's getting hot already. Oh, the name brand is SA. I think. I don't know the actual name. I would have to go look it up. SA, this like logo here. But seriously, if you just Google a woman's face shield, or just they have men's face shield, the video of them doing it is way better than
they're way better.
What you're getting out of this here. But it was all for fun anyway. So this is what you got instead of a song. The lovely babushkas.
So we'll see about tomorrow. President Trump's State of the Union.
SA Fishing. Thank you, Brian.
Let's see if there's anything just on the FISA memo, just in case it's been released at all. The truth is finally coming out. I don't know.
Getting there.
The memo is a fight to finish between MSM and Trump. If Russia's hysteria relies on false facts, it's the journalists' self-interest to deny those facts and double down with more disinformation. They cannot apologize or they will go down with the ships. Let's see, FISA.
Where's Sydney go?
Outside. I took them outside.
You took them both outside?
Outside, baby. All right, so I haven't gotten anything yet.
Okay.
All right.
Then
Good night, guys. We'll see you.
Thank you for being with us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter.
We love you.
God loves you.
Remember, don't forget to put your comments in the comment section.
Yes, put all of your comments in the comment section. And we have a P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. And it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's the truth.
Was called